Here at PPG Paints Arena. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the National Hockey Now and the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channels. I don't think the shot totals matter as much. I don't think a lot of the advanced stats even matter as much on Tuesday night. The Penguins lose 5-2 to Toronto, one of those, of course, being the empty net goal. There's just something wrong with the Penguins, and if you catch my post-game column, you certainly saw I didn't spare any feelings. It took me about 30 minutes to come up with the headline, as the old radio guy in me certainly had some more over-the-top words to use. But ultimately, there's something wrong with the Pittsburgh Penguins. They won a couple of games. They beat the struggling and injured Washington Capitals in Washington, and you think, okay. They clamped down on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you think, okay, now they're getting somewhere. But then they turn in another poor performance against Montreal. They had a couple of third-period leads, and they just kind of quit after each one. And they lost 5-4 in overtime, probably a fate better than they deserved. And they certainly earned their 5-2 loss on, I always forget the days now, on Tuesday night. I sat in the locker room talking with Chris Letang for about 5 minutes, just sitting there in the stall, kind of picking his brain. You know, what is going wrong with the Penguins? And I get a sense that they don't necessarily think a lot is wrong. And the phrase I hear a lot is, we just have to. We just have to. We just have to play 60 minutes. We just have to limit the mistakes. We just have to do this or that. We just have to play simply, is one I hear from a lot of guys. And I think at this point, I've probably covered more games than anybody else this season, because I've been on the last couple of road trips. And so I've heard all of these things. There's something missing. There's that spark. When was the last time you watched the Penguins game and you could feel that emotion and that intensity rising? You could feel all of that. You could feel the wave of energy that you've seen other teams capitalize on against the Penguins. Head coach Mike Sullivan said, no, it's not urgency. He said, I don't really know what that means. He said the mistakes the Penguins are making have been egregious, and that certainly holds true. When the Penguins have, in fact, made a mistake here over the last 3 weeks, it's in the back of their net, because those mistakes are brutal. They'll leave. The second period faceoff was a prime example. Nobody covered anybody, and the Maple Leafs basically stormed the Penguins zone unfettered. Mitch Marner left alone for the second goal in front of the Penguins net. These are things that are bewildering, if nothing else. And you can tell I'm struggling. I'm still struggling, even after writing 1,000 words on what word to use. I don't want to use character or heart, because I think that might be too far right now anyway. There certainly is something missing with this Penguins team, and leave them in the comments. And by the way, like and subscribe here to the PHN YouTube channel. Please do that. I'll be on my way to Minnesota, where the Penguins face the Wild on Thursday, and then they've got Winnipeg and Chicago. They really do, I think, need to come away with 2 wins on this road trip. Otherwise, they're going to be out of the playoffs on Thanksgiving, and teams that are out of the playoff seedings on whatever day Thanksgiving lies. This year, it is November 24th. Teams that are outside the playoff seeds have about a 25% chance of breaking in, and that number goes down and down and down to Christmas and finally into the new year. The Penguins have not been racked by injuries. The Penguins have certainly had the full complement of their stars for the most part, and yet here they are, more losses, 7, than wins, 6. So that's the 5-minute Penguins postgame. Sorry, I wish I had better news to tell you, but I think the locker room is shaking their head just a little bit today as well. I'm Dan Kingerski here on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now and the National Hockey Now YouTube channel.